I sound very important, very impressive. No, so yeah, so I was working on Wall Street and got kind of bored. I always wanted to start my own business, and the business that I ended up starting and that has gone a little bit viral and has really just blown up these past 2 months is Rose's Fresh Pizza. We started initially to sell pizza by the slice for $1, but we found ourselves serving a lot of homeless people. So we instituted a pay it forward program. One day a customer came in and asked to buy a slice, pre-purchase a slice for the next homeless person to come in short. And, I took his dollar, ran out, put a Post-it note up to mostly remind myself, so I wouldn't forget that there was something outstanding. I told more customers later that day. They liked the idea, bought more slices. Inevitably, a couple days later, a homeless person came in and, out of his cup only had, 65 cents. We told him, keep the change. It was already paid for. And now, 11 months later, I find myself, in the great privilege of speaking with you and being interviewed, and a lot of people know about us, and it's gotten a lot of attention recently. So I would say after a month or two, I realized just how powerful the program could be, right? So I saw all these, I saw us feeding a lot of homeless people very efficiently, basically. And I realized that, wow, this could help a lot of people. So far, over the last 11 months, it's still just been Rose's, just this one location that I have and manage and own. But, I'm looking to expand and to implement this program there also. But it took me about a month to realize that we have no additional expenses and we feed most of the homeless people in the immediate area, and through talking with more homeless people and being involved more in the area, I realized just kind of how inefficient some of this can be. So, many feeding programs are only open a couple hours for a couple days. They have limits on how many homeless people can come in or what they serve. It's not the greatest quality of food sometimes. It's inconsistent and irregular, and I didn't realize just how powerful a consistent, scalable, model like this was. I originally used the Post-it notes as a method of accounting for the program. I kept it behind the register, out of reach of customers. It couldn't be tampered with, and we would move the Post-its from one wall to another so that it would be a transparent program. Everyone could see the status of it, how many were outstanding, how many had been eaten, so they could see that, it was helping people, and the homeless could see how many were left and would hopefully be like, I only need one today or only need two or whatever. But our walls became filled with Post-it notes, and we have to clean our walls and, keep a clean restaurant, and, some would fall down. So I just moved all the Post-it notes out into the eating area, and we keep tracking the register. We hit one button for each slice that gets pre-purchased and a separate button for each slice that we give away, and I add up the number of times each button was hit, and I can track the program daily with that. It's easy. It's simple. So moving that accomplished kind of two things. One is it's obviously the most important is that it's a very reliable system, right? I track sales with this machine. It's on point every day. It's a focus, and I teach the cashier it's very reliable. It's a very reliable system now. And the second thing this accomplishes is that having the Post-its out on the wall raises awareness for the program, right? So people walk in, all of a sudden, they see this giant colorful collage and they ask, what are all these Post-its doing? And then we get to explain it. And they go, that's a cool program. And it sure, here's $1. Boom. I just sold a slice for a homeless person. Definitely most first-time customers,
Sure.
like, because they hear about it, they're like, oh, I've been meaning to get here. I want to try the pizza, and I want to buy some slices for other people.
Right.
A lot of our regular customers buy them as well. Some of them don't because while they might not be homeless, they're struggling, and they depend on cheap, affordable food, right? So
Sure.
they, just buy slices for themselves. This kind of gets into the other thing. Like, I didn't want, like, to raise awareness for the program. Like, if nobody knows about it, nobody's gonna participate in it, right? So I wanted to make the program known, but not have it be like a high pressure situation. Like when you go into Kmart and they're like, "Oh, do you want to give me another like $4 for this?" Like, yeah. And before I had them all out there, I again didn't have the cashier be like, "Oh, and can I have some more dollars for homeless people?" A lot of our customers are struggling. That's why they come to us also. So I just typed up a letter and put it on the counter, on the eating counters, and it, explained how the program worked way back when the Post-its were out there. I'd like to have the program not forced upon people, because I don't want, at the end of the day, this is a business, and I want my paying customers to be really comfortable.
Yeah, you want people, when they come in, they want to be comfortable. They don't want to feel pressured that they have to do something, because then it's kind of like, oh gee, I only have $1 on me and I want to go get a slice of pizza, but I can't give to someone else today. So It sounds like you've set up a good atmosphere.
Exactly. Yeah. So it becomes a very I want it to be a voluntary kind of charity, and I think that we've done that.
And I noticed too that you've added some signage to the store. I noticed at the top where the menu is that on the far right hand side. It looks like you added something. Hey, you can buy a slice for someone else.
Yeah, it's much more. It's much less uncomfortable when someone's just reading it and actively consuming the information rather than having it be forced upon them, right? So it avoids that kind of confrontation, I guess. And this way, the customer asks, "Oh, and I heard that you can help the homeless here. Oh, can I buy a slice? How does that work?" So they're actively asking for it.
Versus you pushing it, yeah.
Yeah, rather than it being, kind of uncomfortably forced upon them, which is, I want, because, I don't want to alienate or irritate the ones that don't buy them. It's completely up to them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's it. What I wonder too.
Give money to different charities and stuff, and I don't want them to feel like they're a little less than the other guy who bought a slice right before them. Oh yeah, absolutely. If I ever do a different type of food or another restaurant, I would absolutely incorporate this system into it as well. You could easily on the Ellen show, I mentioned that Chipotle could easily have $2 for rice and beans. Just like a stripped down, basic, simple meal that people could pre-purchase for people in need, and again, no additional capital expenditure. It's an extra button on the register, and it increases sales. Oh yeah, well, so I was on the Ellen show, I guess technically in our second year of operation, and we're way busier now than we were, and that's in spite of a lot of kind of headwinds that we face in the immediate area. My block is completely vacant right now. Everything's it's under all the landlords have sold their buildings, not mine, but all my neighbors are. They're all being gutted. A lot of people have lost their leases, and it's the sidewalk on the other side of the street is closed down, and I'm a foot traffic driven business. It's just been it's a horrible place to open up, especially a foot traffic driven business like Dollar Pizza. But with all the exposure because of this program, firstly, we sell pizza. That's by far what most of our sales are, just having it be purchased and consumed by the first person, by the same person. It could work. It depends on what you mean by upscale, a sit-down dining experience. Nobody's going to buy anything that entails waiter service. And to be quite honest, that's not an efficient use of charity to like purchase waiter service for a homeless person. Like,
Right.
they give them really good, quality food
Right.
at an affordable price. But like, these amenities, they have bigger fish to fry, to be honest with you. So waiter service is not those types of restaurants probably doesn't make sense. But like a pizza shop, Chipotle is a more a high ticket item. McDonald's, these types of restaurants, Five Guys, I guess, burger places. I mean, they could easily have fries for somebody or a side salad. I mean, McDonald's has a $1 menu.
Well, the interesting thing about them, I think, from because you can go into their restaurants and eat and not pay if you can't afford it. But what they try to do is they try to straddle the line between people that will pay and people that can't pay. I mean, that must be a huge challenge for them. But I wonder whether it's doable.
Yeah, well, they also have more. I don't know exactly how a Panera Cares works, but what is it, like a pay what you can?
Pay what you can. Yep.
Yeah, it's a pay what you can, and it's a challenging model, Mason, because the Panera wants to put these out there, but they have to make a certain amount of money in order to survive. So some people have to pay full price, and some people pay even more than
full price. Yeah,
that's right, because some people are only paying a little or nothing. So it is a real challenge because, like I said, they have to straddle that area, and even in Boston, where there's a Panera Cares Cafe, it's not in it's in downtown Boston. I mean, there are definitely homeless. Yeah, there are definitely homeless in the area, but it's not in like a challenged neighborhood, or something like that. Because I think they need that combination of people that will pay and obviously people that can.
Yeah, and I think I don't know very much about this program at all, but I think what our customers really like is the simplicity of this. Like
exactly.
The Panera Cares model seems a little bit more complicated. Like, what are the homeless people exactly getting?
Yeah, right.
Like, am I paying for
is it
like
super salad?
Yeah. Are they getting are they getting like crab meat on their salad? Like, do I really want to pay for that? Like, why don't I just give them a basic salad? Is that being appreciated do they really need this kind of like?
That's such a good point.
And Panera is it's certainly more upscale than Rosa's, and it just seems like a much more complicated model. Again, I have no business telling Panera what to do, but if they just want to do hey, buy a loaf of bread for somebody for, I don't know, bread is cheap as anything, right? So you could do $1 for a loaf of bread or whatever. I think they do that, and buy a loaf of bread or buy the, I guess, protein to put on top or whatever. Boom, it's a wrap. Because right now, we're talking about it, and we don't really know exactly how does this?
We don't even know how it works.
And that's a tough sell. So. Whereas my program, you can explain in 2 sentences, right? No,
which is the beauty of it. Yeah. And the interesting piece too that Joe and I were talking about earlier, Mason, is that you don't work with a nonprofit. You go direct to the homeless person standing in front of you. And I think that's so interesting, and it makes that simplicity piece and that authenticity piece, it's right there. You are standing in your store. There's probably a homeless person next to you eating a piece of pizza. So it's pretty easy to see where it goes. And sometimes we lose that in these types of models and campaigns. I don't know. I just think it's really
you don't even, for the way you're describing Panera, Panera Cares, if it works like that, you don't even know who's receiving it, oh, well, I guess if they can afford $2, I guess they just need a subsidized meal. Then do they really need anything at all? Why don't they just get, it's confusing. And I think charity, just like business, should be very streamlined and simple. And you should know what's going on, especially for something as simple as food. I get, but Doctors Without Borders, medical care, that's very, very complicated.
Right.
I don't know how you would implement a pay it forward program for that kind of industry. But for food and for some other basic services, I think you could, you have to keep it simple and streamlined. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have a couple of these restaurants throughout the city, affordable food and even more affordable charity, right? So it would probably be a, probably $4 to $8 meal ticket for the paying customer, and a $1 to $2, standardized pay it forward item. And I would probably want to get into something with protein in it, just from the nourishment side. Eggs, chicken. I don't know what exactly. Maybe beans, but something that's a little bit. Nothing against pizza. I eat a lot of pizza, and I'm a pretty guy. So, but I'd like to, both from a business perspective, sell something that's a little bit more, I guess, appealing to everybody, because not everybody likes pizza, as ridiculous as that might sound. And also get some more, even more nourishing food into the homeless recipient.
That's
so
crazy.
when you gonna open a location in Boston?
I gotta work on it, but the Boston winter, I'm not gonna lie, is something that I'm really glad I don't have to deal with anymore. So,
oh my goodness,
but there's a real need here. There's a real need.
Joe is hungry. Joe is very hungry.
I'm sure there is, but there's also real need down south, and I don't have to buy layers. So
that's right. Yeah.
I've been even this past winter, I'm like, why do people live up here?
Ever.
But here I am living, in Philadelphia.
Right.
But I'm like, in Miami, it's nice. Like, why doesn't everybody live in Miami? But here I am, contradicting that. But anyway, yeah, go to rosesfreshpizza.com. That's you can buy slices for homeless people, as well as apparel that works into the Pay It Forward program. We sell T-shirts, and half of the T-shirts sales funds Post-it notes, funds pizza for homeless people. And for each sweatshirt we sell, we give away another sweatshirt.
Awesome.
So we're branching into, and what's really cool is on the inside of the sweatshirt is a tag with information for the homeless recipient. So information where they can go for meals and shelter and computer classes, try to get more durable resources into their hands.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That's very cool.
Look at you. You're like a homeless advocate. I love it.
He's going to be like a cause mogul.
I know.
You know what I mean? This guy, just everything he touches turns into good.
That's great. I love it.
I hope so, but we've actually been partnering with 3M, Coca-Cola. Ellen obviously helped us out, and we were able to donate 200 sweatshirts to Project Home. They went out and distributed them, and so it's becoming a powerful force for sure.